What is going on, everybody? Welcome to PGA Live Before Lock / strategy show / the big show that we got going here at Stokastic on the YouTube channel. I'm Eric Lindquist, excited to be hosting a PGA Live Before Lock. Don't think I've done this one before. We're giving Ben the night off because it's about to get crazy for this young man. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the NCAA tournament in full swing. You're going to want to check out all of his content going over at the Odd Shopper channel, as well as Stokastic. So many great offerings we have for the NCAA tournament. So check all of that out. But I'm excited because I haven't done a show with my buddy Jeff Ulrich for a long damn time. Too long is probably what I would say. How you doing, my dude?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, it has been a while, and let's just tell the truth. I mean, Scotty Scheffler and Matt Fitzpatrick broke Ben, and he needed the week off. You know, his idol missed the cut, and Scheffler broke him. That's the truth of it, people. You know what it's so.
Scheffler's breaking a lot of people. I mean,
he's breaking my bankroll one win at a time. It's true.
I had this conversation. I made this joke in jest on Twitter, and it kind of exploded about a month or so ago. And it was just this joke that we should just bet out the top three favorites in every tournament. We should quit trying to go to the middle of the board because the top tier players in the world are just so consistent and so much better. If you bet Rahm and Scheffler every single tournament this season, you're up a bajillion units, and be damned to trying to find quote unquote value, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a pretty big shift and you kind of noticed it last year, but I think we just had such a nice stretch in golf where the mid-tier players would just pop up almost every week. You know, like you get like Bryson when he was like 40 or 50 to 1, and then someone else in that range at the same the week after. And we just got so used to it. But now, man, yeah, it's the elites. When we get these elite events, like we're getting a breather this week because the top end is nowhere near as strong. And it's definitely a good week, probably not to skip the top, but for the most part, it's definitely, you kind of got to reevaluate. I'll probably be taking more top players as we go towards the end of the year.
Yeah, the top has question marks, I think. Whether it's Justin Thomas, who should probably throw his putter into a river, whether it's Matt Fitzpatrick, who's missed 3 of 5 cuts given in better fields, who has a neck issue, Sam Burns, who hasn't had good form outside of a good finish in Phoenix. There are question marks all over the board at the top end, regardless of any other thing. This is just a different kind of a beast this week here at the Valspar. But first, as you can see behind me, we have DraftKings Rainmakers. This is fantastic, this partnership that we have going with them. I'm very involved in the Rainmaker streets. I know Jeff was in the NFL streets at the beginning of the NFL streets when they introduced this product. It is NFTs turned DFS. It is really, really fun. And if you were going to jump in now, this is the week because you don't need to have the elite players. If you have Justin Thomas, who outside of the top 10 over on DraftKings Sportsbook, he's plus 140 to finish in the top 10. So he is not a favorite to finish there. You could get a starter pack and you're set to go. Now, my friend Jordan Klein down here behind the virtual glass, best producer in the game named Jordan Klein, no doubt about it. You have to open the Justin Thomas pack this week. If you're jumping in now, you have to claim the Justin Thomas pack. You're just going to do it because you might as well play the guy who's going to be there this week and have some utility. He is opening his starter pack right now, live with everybody. Look at this. Come on now. One-time dealer. No whammies, and stop. Open pack. This is a lot of fun. Everybody can get their free pack signing up in the video description box below. I kind of hope you get shitty cards. That's what I'm cheering for here, Jordan Klein. Jeff, so have you opened your starter pack yet?
I did.
Okay.
Well, Thigala. Okay.
Let's go.
That's solid.
I'm happy about some of the things occurring here. Obviously, JT, along with, was that Callum Tarrant? Barry Woodland. Yes, we have some utility this week.
That's really
good stuff. Lee Hodges is the other guy there.
Yeah, okay. So, that's not great. Kazire's useful. Okay. Could do worse.
Mm-hmm. General Patton. That's always good.
John Ha. I mean, Woodland is a good get. Oh, we got a couple more to go. Forget.
See, we have some utility now this week. And if you don't have utility, you can go to the Craft and Burn section. Go get yourself some Lego My Higo.
Is that Dylan Wu? Is that Dylan Wu?
He does. He's got Kramer Hickok. I didn't see the last one that came through.
Hickok's
it is
good.
Dylan Wu. What a pack.
That's a really good pack for this week. Dylan Wu and Hickok are both extremely good plays, and they're guys in the marketplace. If you're getting in, you could go look at for sure. I like that.
So Jordan Klein, go to the DraftKings marketplace, or so we don't have to go to the marketplace. Go to the lobby. So Rainmakers to the lobby. You can enter this starting pack that you get completely free, no questions asked, and you can play it in the core contest there that it says starter pack only, you could also get 2 core cards on the marketplace. And again, I did a video earlier today on how to get the best possible lineup you could for under $20. Thought that was a lot of fun to try to piece that together for the people with starter players that I have. But you can piece that together. So you can do that all together over on Rainmakers, the core sections. You can buy the cards to be able to go to the rare, the elite, the legendary, the Rainmakers contests. So many great things for no matter what your bankroll is, you can have some fun in the Rainmaker streets. So check that out. Congratulations, Jordan Klein, on a hell of an intro pack. Welcome to Rainmakers DFS, my friend. I guess I said that as if he was going to respond to me. He doesn't have a mic. We would never give him a mic, but we're talking the Valspar. Check out that in the video description box below. Get that pack. But my friend, we're talking the Valspar Championship here. We are getting to it at Innisbrook, the Copperhead course. It's long, it's tough, par 71, and it looks like it's going to be windy on Friday. Might be looking at some tee time stacks, but before we start diving in player by player, anything that stands out to you with the weather or the draws?
Yeah, the draw is tricky this week, man. Like there's wind pretty much the first 2 days. Friday looks like it could be epic. Like it could be some really tough scoring. And just a quick couple notes on the course. Like it looks like they've grown the rough out. It looks like what they're trying to do is get it back to what it was like before Sam Burns kind of, tore it down with 17 under par the last couple of years. So I'm expecting it to play harder just in general. And then you add in wind. Thursday, it just looks gusty all day. Last I looked, I think on days like that, you probably would rather have the guys in the morning. Tomorrow, though, like what I've seen is there's actually a little bit more gusts in the morning. So, I wrote up first round leader picks. They're on Stokastic. You can check the article out after, but we've seen a history of more AM guys getting first round leaders, solo first round leaders here. Not shocking, but this is a year where I would definitely recommend spreading it out. I think for Showdown, even putting in some PM only lineups may be useful. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. If I was to pick a wave, I would probably go Thursday PM, Friday AM. I honestly don't know if it's going to be a big split. I think it's just going to be bad weather for everyone. So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. But again, if I was like picking one wave, you say you got to stack one, I would go Thursday PM, Friday AM.
We got our guy Stewie. I live 20 minutes from Innisbrook. You could go hang out with Jason Roslin. You guys could go kick it for the weekend for sure down there at Old Innisbrook. PGA DFS golf fans. I had to do that for Jordan Klein. It's required by law. I think it's in my contract somewhere that I have to make fun of Jason with the head bobbing. Hope he's doing well. He's my dude, so wanted to give him some love. Yeah, but looking very much forward to watching this golf course. I did some U.S. Open backing. Is this maybe a little bit too galaxy brain of me, Jeff Ulrich? I started grouping some guys based on really tough conditions, trying to be like, if it's going to be super breezy on Friday and we're looking at -5, -6, bogey avoidance, short game scrambling, driving accuracy, things that I don't think about outside of a U.S. Open generally.
I don't think that's outlandish at all this week. I mean, that's exactly the kind of players we want. I mean, either I'm looking at players who are just supreme ball striking, and if I don't have that, then I want someone who's just like, can be really, has some kind of upside with their long irons, but mainly also just the short game. I mean, the short game or the putter. We need people who can save us potentially on the greens as well. So looking for those guys, not necessarily huge birdie rates, but players who have some kind of utility to avoid bogeys on tough courses. Yeah, I think that's a good strategy this week for sure.
Yeah, definitely something that I've been digging in a little bit more on. We have Matthew Jones in the chat. Do we see any rain delays screwing up the draws? I think all the rain looks like it's showing up on Saturday, Sunday, so not really something I'm considering.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. First 2 days just look windy. Looks, especially Friday. So,
and Saturday will get wet. Sunday could be wet. We don't know yet, but looking at Palm Harbor, Florida, looking at Windfinder, looking at all Google.com. Google.com could be helpful too. So checking out the weather there. I know what you know. That is kind of the extent of it, but definitely with you. Thursday PM, Friday AM. I think if we're going to get any kind of a weather draw, that's the most likely. But as you said, Friday as well, just looks windy all the live long day. You ready to dig into some players, my friend?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We're looking at 4 players in the 10K section here up top. Justin Thomas, he is the class of the field. I don't think anybody's going to deny it. Jordan Spieth, came a knee knock away off a cart path from missing the cut last week. Looks a lot better in the old scoreboard department when you hit a human, chip in for eagle, and finish top 20. Good for you, sir. Congrats. I hate you. Sam Burns sitting there at 10-2, going for the trifecta. Yeah, back-to-back AAU national championships. Fred McGriff. Anybody? Tom Amansky. That was fun too. And Matt Fitzpatrick, lots of question marks. If you had to be overweight to one player in the 10K range this week, who would you pick?
I would probably go. I guess I'm standing for Ben because he's not here. I would probably go with Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
Ben and I do tend to agree about these players a lot. Eric, you probably watched this a few times now and you agree.
Couple.
These idiots just agree about every stupid Euro.
Here's the thing. I have so much dissension about some of his takes that it makes it entertaining. So I'll just do the same thing with you.
Okay, perfect.
So, you're going to make fun of me because Sam Burns is my guy, and that's just the correct answer. It's worked well in the past here.
It has. And look, I'm not as anti Sam Burns as you know. Ben thinks there's like some conspiracy around Sam Burns or something, like him being.
I think Sam Burns has a deal with the devil for sure.
I don't quite take Jordan Spieth has a deal with the devil. That is.
Yeah, he does. I can't stand.
We could do a whole show with how that guy's sold out. But I like Fitzy this week. Look, the irons were there. The ball striking was there at API. We saw it better. We saw better ball striking from him last season. That's why he won the major. He got he beefed up game. He's still really solid around the greens. I don't mind taking people off the missed cuts here. We're not going elite field to elite field. We're going, major, almost the major championship, big week to a smaller event. This is where I think you see the letdown from players who were potentially in contention last week. And I think you see quick bounce backs from a lot of players who just missed the cut. It's TPC Sawgrass, it's high variance. It's a little bit concerning, the injury stuff with Fitz and how inconsistent he's been, but I still think that this is a week where you can get on him, and you should. I love the setup. It's going to be tough. We're talking about U.S. Open stacks. Well, he's the reigning U.S. Open champion, so you can't do much better than that. I would pick Fitz. I think again, I just like him. I like this setup, and I'm willing to roll a dice that he's probably improved. I like that API start a lot. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's a requirement. Like there are a lot of chances you can take in the 7K, 8K range as we make our way down the board. But yet I still don't find myself getting to Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth all that much. Justin Thomas, if he could putt right now, the guy would be winning golf tournaments pretty routinely. He's now gained over 5 shots tee to green in his last 5 events, 4 of his last 5 events. Genesis was pretty flat there, kind of an off week in that regard. But that putter has just abandoned him in a lot of ways. And I'm trying to just say 1 week where it was really, really bad here at the Players and trying to block it out a little bit. But because Sam Burns and because Matt Fitzpatrick sit there, and I like a lot of my builds with those two, and they're garnering less attention than that of Thomas and Spieth, I think I'm just going that direction. I think it's going to be playing really tough for everybody. Why not get in the guy who's the lowest owned out of the 4 in Sam Burns, who's now won this event back-to-back years? Yeah. And then Matt Fitzpatrick, who I think people just have a lot of question marks about. But if he's healthy, another week there, had the weekend off, didn't have to grind at the Players, kind of a golf tournament that's not very fun to grind out on the weekend if you're not in contention. I'm pretty happy to get to Matthew Fitzpatrick. So I'm glad you're on board with that. Any real Thomas Spieth? Are you kind of like avoiding them entirely? Or are you getting to a little bit still?
On Thomas and Spieth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I think that it's probably a good week to fade the top of the board. I mean, again, Stokastic ownership projections, we mentioned this every week. Like, they're valuable. And, Thomas is pushing towards the top, over 25% ownership. So, I mean, I don't love Burns. I don't love the way he started, but, he pretty much falls in the same basket as Fitzpatrick. He's looked a little bit better over his last couple starts. The ball striking maybe is coming back a bit. And, I mean, he's gained so many strokes putting at the Valspar in every single one of his starts. It's hard to say, oh, this is going to be the year where he doesn't. I think it's fine. I mean, maybe the tougher conditions help him as well. I mean, from the standpoint of the best part of his game is the putter in the short game right now. And, that could come into play more. So, I kind of like either maybe even double stacking, like with Burns and Fitzpatrick. It'll give you certainly a more unique starting point. And I don't really know what to do with Spieth. Like, I kind of like him for some of the same reasons that I like Fitzpatrick, but he's been wildly up and down. He was kind of in contention last week, and I just feel like it just kind of feels like this could easily be a letdown spot. It doesn't really feel like this is the point where he's jumping up. I mean, like we said off the top, the T19 looks good, but this was not a player who was dominating out there. He needed a ricochet to make the weekend. So, I mean, it doesn't instill in me a lot of confidence. I'd rather pay down for the lower owned guys up top this week.
Yeah, would it surprise me if Jordan Spieth went out and won this golf tournament? No, it would not. He's definitely it's him and Thomas, 1-2, maybe Justin Rose in terms of who's had the best career amongst everybody in this field. And that's just the way that it is. But I think he's got such a volatile style of golf. And if that driver is off playing a little bit, you're going to see him in the rough. You're going to see him scrambling in a pretty pronounced way, and not the best track record in terms of US Opens outside of his win. And that win is a little bit discounted because it was the weirdest US Open I can remember, going to Washington. Again, just biased against Jordan Spieth. No big deal. Just kind of the way that it is. But looking at the
putted well, he hasn't putted well this year either.
Right.
So, I mean, another knock against him.
I would say that kind of was the same prevailing thing that we had last year with Jordan Spieth. I mean, he's 60th in his last 50 rounds amongst this field in terms of strokes gained putting, and the iron play, the driver really turned around last year, especially kind of around this turn, right after the Masters where he missed the cut. He won the RBC in that 18th hole, kind of spectacular. He had the great up and down there. The AT&T Byron Nelson finished second there, just outside of that playoff. So feeling pretty good about his form about this time, but he's really popular and it's volatile. I got to be getting away from him a little bit here, but upper nines, you talked about it. We have great tools and content here at Stokastic. We have the Top Golfers tool, which I'm looking at a lot. You can upload that data. And if you ever have questions about anything on how to upload it into Fantasy Cruncher, hit me up at Eric Lindquist on Twitter. Happy to help you, DM you with anything there. I'm doing a weekly video doing the first look for everybody because that's our PGA DFS offering on Tuesdays. Help you guys figure out how to do some things. But I look at this entire range. It looks as though the optimal percentages on Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Denny McCarthy, not really there. But I have some interest in all three of them based on just pure ownership alone. They're lower owned than Thomas and Spieth. That's good enough for me. I like some of the balanced builds this week. Do you have a preference towards any of them?
I mean, I like the spot for Tommy Fleetwood quite a bit. I mean, everyone was kind of looking at him last Sunday and be like, oh, he's the guy who can go and chase Scheffler. And he just, he fell flat. It's a big deal. I mean, he still gained 5 strokes on approach. He's gained multiple strokes on approach in a couple different starts. His around the green game is really good. I mean, another player like Fitzpatrick, who, where does he play well? U.S. Opens and Open Championships in tough conditions. Forget he was runner-up to Shane Lowry in like the dirtiest Open Championship ever in terms of like weather that I can remember the last 10 years. So, I mean, this guy, I think the conditions benefit Tommy Fleetwood quite a bit this week. I like him for betting too. Like, it's not really a week where I want to take on Thomas or Spieth, but Fleetwood's down there in the second tier and you can still get good odds on him. So I like him over Rose. I get why people want to go to Rose here. He's still a very solid player, but man, he's up and down. And I mean, like, I don't really want a 40-plus-year-old Rose who's had some back issues in a windy, tournament that isn't really elevated. Like, there seems a lot of reasons for Justin Rose coming off a good event to just kind of take this week off if things don't go well off the start. Fleetwood's the guy who's going to be out there grinding. He talked about it again last week. The second places, the top 10s don't matter. This guy really wants to win. So I really like Fleetwood up there. McCarthy is kind of interesting. He doesn't belong up here, if we're being honest, but that's fine because it leads to lower ownership. And I mean, he's Denny McPutts. So, he could sink a ton and get in there. He's not a player. He's also a player I'd be fine just leaving off. I would pay up for Fleetwood here and then look towards the lower nines or the high eights personally.
Yeah, I've never been a Denny McCarthy guy. I really don't like the profile for him. It's never been. I've never really been a fan. Just when you're outside the top 70 in terms of all ball striking metrics, it's hard for me to really want to go crazy there. But something about this week and just kind of the weather, a lot of so another thing that doesn't get talked about a lot, but like I could see this golf course playing drastically different all 4 days. And somebody who's just good at putting and is proven to be good at putting everywhere, that's going to change throughout the entire week. And maybe that doesn't get talked about a lot. It comes from a real life perspective where, I grew up in South Dakota, played Division I golf at Iowa State, where the weather would just be pouring. And then the next second it's sunny and everything else. And you have to just have really depth touch to it. Sub 10%, I'm actually in on Denny McCarthy this week. I think he just feels a little bit under-respected. I guess he's right around 12, 13% here at the moment, but right around a 10% optimal percentage. That's good enough for me. I am going to be playing him over Justin Rose. I'm going to be playing him over Fleetwood. Adam Hadwin, though, down here at the bottom nines, and Brian Harman, both of them not the longest hitters, but I mean, if you're looking for accuracy, Adam Hadwin, former winner, Brian Harman's done it for years and years and years, the same way, just plodding around the course. How are you feeling about the lower nines?
I mean, Hadwin is, unfortunately, Keegan withdrew, and like the Hadwin is potentially going to challenge Thomas for the heaviest owned player here. So I think this is actually an easy pivot. It's not necessarily that I think that you need to avoid Hadwin either. Like if you want to start, lineups, maybe you start with Fleetwood, maybe you start with like Hadwin and Denny McCarthy. I don't know if you need to do that, but you could start with Hadwin maybe. I like Davis Riley though. I mean, I think that if you're looking to pivot or you're looking for some kind of low 9 double stack to start with, I'm fine getting back on Davis Riley. It's a lot of the same things that I mentioned with Fitzpatrick. He had like a few bad holes on Friday, and he just kind of drifted out. He started the tournament extremely well. This dude can light it up on the greens just like Burns. He's good around the greens. Where did he almost win last year? It was here, but also Colonial. I mean, these are the kind of tracks, these sort of more technical, longer dog legs that we've seen Davis Riley pop up. I really like him as a player personally. I think that he's just good at a lot of different things, and I think he's going to be able to handle a course like this. You mentioned, the course may play differently. I think a player like Riley, that favors him as well, because if it's nasty out, he can get hot at the short game. He can save you with the putter. But he can also go out and score. Like he's long off the tee. So I really like Riley this week. I prefer him over Hadwin, but if you want to play both, I think that's fine, because Hadwin just seems extremely consistent right now. And I have no reason to say, he's terrible. He's certainly, compared to McCarthy, who I don't think is overpriced, but I understand the appeal from the ownership. I think he's a better play. So give me Riley down here as my favorite. But, like I said, if I was starting lineups with two guys in the 9Ks, probably be Hadwin and Davis Riley.
All righty. Yeah, Davis Riley lost 2.5 shots at the approach at this tournament last year and finished second. He gained 7 with the putter, gained 4 with the driver, 5 around the green. Pretty ridiculous stuff across the board. I have a tough time figuring out what I want to do with him. I mean, he's coming in with the poorest form out of everybody, 9K and above. 4 of his last 6 missed cuts. He does have the 8th that he finished at the Arnold Palmer, put it together with that putter. If you could spike the putter, maybe it's a Denny McCarthy, Davis Riley type combination for me, just hoping to catch lightning in a bottle in some kind of a regard. And I don't really think there's some kind of prevailing skill set that I'm trying to stack this week. I think it's going to be more tee time stacks plus, trying to put combinations of these guys together and hoping the course plays a certain way, but it's pretty unpredictable. I think I'm going to embrace a little bit of that. Anything else for the 9K range for you?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, Brian Harman, I just don't even, I'll be dead honest. I don't even know what this guy's doing. So, 3 missed cuts in his last 5 starts. He's 9,100. I'm kind of just pretending he's not there, but I'm sure a lot of people are also taking that approach. So I guess if you wanted to, actually still,
that's how I deal with Greg on shows generally. So it's a good approch.
He's taking the Brian Harman approach with Greg.
Oh, it's so good for my health.
Poor Greg.
It is what it is.
Harman is still pushing like 12, 14%. I really have no interest. I'll be dead honest.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'll be able to pay attention a lot more to here. I have 1 minute. I got to make sure nothing happens to my 888 lineup here for NBA today. I'm looking at the San Antonio game, Dallas game. Everybody's playing that, but it's kind of unavoidable. So with that, as I stall, waiting for the clock to strike 5:30. There it is. No, it's not going to be there yet. Let's continue on, shall we? We get to the 8s. This is where it gets really fun. Hit that like button. We have almost 200 of you guys hanging out here in chat, talking golf for the Valspar. I know it's not the Arnold Palmer. I know it's not the Players. And I know it's not Ben Raza, but we're having a blast, aren't we? I got my buddy Jeff. We're kicking it here. We're going to have some fun. And now is where the fun begins, because I think the tournament really starts here. You could make a lot of cases for guys above 9K, but now we got to start making some cases of dudes who are pulling tons of ownership that aren't all that good. We're talking Justin Suh. We're talking Wyndham Clark, who's now steamed up the board. Maverick McNeely, my dude this week. Gary Woodland, my dude this week. Both lower on. Brandon Wu, I think we both like him. Ben Griffin. So many 8K guys that I have interest in, but you can only play a couple considering ownership is a thing. Who are your main targets in the 8K range, my friend?
Yeah. I mean, I started the week, I put out a profile. I said, I bet Fleetwood, I bet, Trey Mullinax is a long shot. And then I got to decide between Clark, Justin Suh, Woodland, and Davis Riley. And I got like 16 responses and everybody like picked everybody, like each player, like the same amount of times.
Oh, that's annoying.
So it's just like, this gives you the idea of like, everybody likes these guys, but like, we don't really know who it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I like Wyndham Clark is at this point. I mean, I really like the way he's playing. But he's 80. He's also 8,800. He looks like he's going to be a top 5% owned play. I honestly, I really don't know what to do with this range necessarily. Like as far as picking like one of these players against the other, I think they all sort of have their own flaws. I think Justin Suh is the best player. I think he's got the potential to be the best player. So like if you were saying one guy here, Jeff, out of those four, we'll throw McNeely. And I would say just pay up for Justin Suh. I think he's got the most potential. He's certainly showed it so far this year. Long iron play is absolutely has been really, really good in spots. The putter has let him down a couple spots, and the around the green game is still a little bit tricky, but I think he's just the best player of this group. Woodland obviously is a major championship winner, and I really don't mind him either. But like if Gary's putter doesn't show up this week, it's going to be a short one. So that's really hit or miss. I think Wyndham and McNeely are probably the two players who, if you said I need to fade in DFS, do it. I think Wyndham Clark will make the cut. I don't necessarily think he's going to be terrible, but I would rather. I think there's just more upside with Suh and Woodland. I just think that they're better players. They're better long iron players. And I think that'll probably bear out over the course of the tournament.
That's exactly where I'm looking at. I'm looking at Woodland. We're on the same board. That's our Ben Raza moment. Wyndham Clark, I'm very surprised that he ends up getting more ownership in spots that he's being projected here. It's Stokastic over that of Justin Suh. Wyndham Clark just pulling a ton of attention. I don't think that's exactly deserved here. And I think if I'm taking the best player approach, like I want to just take the best player in the range, I definitely think that that's Justin Suh. Gary Woodland has got it done at U.S. Opens. Hits that stinger 2-iron everywhere. We've seen how many videos on YouTube for a decade of the KU, former Washburn basketball star Gary Woodland. Really great stuff, considering he's low-owned. Just a decent target to get to here. If you're just playing the box score game, obviously Wyndham Clark and especially Justin Suh look better, but Gary Woodland, give me some long irons, give me that opportunity. Looks really, really, really nice to me. Lower eights. My boy, JT Poston, hard to get away from him on any type of Bermuda surface. Most of his wins being on that surface. Feel pretty good about him. 8,100. Taylor Moore, Ben Griffin, Brandon Wu. Who are you targeting down here?
So, I mean, I think it's a pretty good profile for Brandon Wu. He played well at the Scottish Open. I think it was last year. I think I'd rather take him in a little bit tougher conditions. It feels like that type of player. I think Ben Griffin at this point is a solid fade. He's 8,400. It's not that he's not good, but at 8,400, I want more than a player who's just got a potential for a T25, and I think Brandon Wu brings you that. So Wu over Griffin is pretty simple. I really don't mind Poston for what you managed. I mean, Poston to me is, he brings a little bit of that. Well, if he's not hitting it well, and he really hasn't been the last few events, then
no,
it may go poorly. But the putter upside with him, I mean, he could also just throw in a T6 like he did at the Amex. So always a little bit of interest there. I really think that like of this lower 8K range, though, I don't have a huge interest in anyone outside of Brandon Wu. I don't know what KH Lee has been doing lately. Yeah, not much either. So all these guys just feel a little bit overpriced. I mean, I think that the high 7K range, pretty comparable. I think once you hit like the mid 7K, it starts to drop off, but the 8K range kind of just feels like, especially the lower 8K range, they just feel overpriced compared to the guys in the high sevens.
Yeah, the KH Lee one's interesting. He won the Byron Nelson last year, went completely deep in that one. This is a different style. I mean, this is grinded out golf. at its finest. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I was higher on him earlier in the week. I've kind of faded interest in KH Lee, especially over today as I've looked into more stuff. Just, I feel like he's somebody I want in shootouts. That was kind of my issue with Poston to a certain extent, but I think just because of the surface and because the putter driver, when they do line up, he converts those into top fives, top tens, puts himself into the mix. Second at the Travelers, first John Deere, a weaker field, obviously, in that one. Third at RBC Heritage coming up next week. A lot of his top finishes, other than the end of 2021, where he was just a complete nothing, found some form last summer, and it really started to show form at the Bermuda surfaces, Phoenix Open, into the Florida Swing, where he started to pick it up, and then RBC Heritage started converting. Made a really good run over the summer to convert the W there. So we moved to the 7K range. Anything else from 8K stand out to you?
Not really. Just like I said, I mean, I definitely like some of the guys in the 8K range, the high 8K range, but someone mentioned like you bypass the whole range together. I think there's some interest in that as well, like where you could maybe stack 2 or 3 guys from the 9K range potentially, and then go down into the 7s. I think even in the lower 7K range, there's certainly players with similar upside to those low 8K guys.
I talked about it a second ago, but Ben Rasa, my dude, he is in the college basketball streets. And if you guys want to have access to everything they have going for it, $39.95 for the entire tournament, you can sign up for that over at Stokastic. We got Matt Gajeski, projections if you're going to be playing college basketball DFS. We have the Insider Discord access. That's where I'm hanging out, putting my NBA betting card every single day. Might have a college basketball or play, but mainly just going to be piggyback, standing on the shoulders of Matt Gajeski, of my buddy Ben Rasa. We're going to be hanging out in that, so you can sign up for the premium Discord. Use promo code Lindy. Get yourself I believe it's 50% off that first week. Pretty great stuff there. But player and team usage stats, if you're looking at anything regarding betting, those are the 2 guys you want to be checking out. Check them out at the Odd Shopper channel with all of their premium content there. And then also $39.95 for coverage for them for the entire tournament for DFS. So that'll be something you definitely want. And competition's so soft for those. You want access to it. That is for damn sure. Plus, we have 50% off any sport right now. You can get 50% off any sport for a platinum, weekly, or monthly pass, signing up using promo code SCORE. Yes, promo code SCORE in the video description box below. Alrighty, we go to the 7K range. Let's have some fun, shall we? Victor Perez, welcome to America, my Frenchman. He's going to be popular. His popularity has waned as the entire week has gone on. He was nearly 25% yesterday when I did my first look video, crashed down to around the 14-15% area. But something tells me as you move up in stakes, Victor Perez will be a target for the people. I'll let you tell him why. Steven Jaeger bombs. We've got him there. Jonathan Vegas. Ludwig Ogberg. I don't even know who that is. How are we feeling about the upper 7s?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It looks like, early in the week, look, as a guy who's bet Euro golf a lot in his life, Victor Perez is a well-known quantity. He won over there earlier this season. He's beat some pretty good fields in Europe, but haven't really seen too much from him necessarily in like the bigger events. He certainly has it in him, but this is typically a situation that I like to just fade. Players coming in cold, and by cold I just mean they just haven't played on the Euro Tour. Maybe they've played the European Tour, but they haven't really played much on the PGA. And they're projecting with a little bit of chalk. It's, to me, it's just an easy fade situation. I know Perez is good. I know he could pop up, but like Steven Jaeger is right underneath him, and Jaeger does have some ownership with him. I think people are understanding, like, okay, we have like the consistent, the player here. Jaeger's got a great short game. The irons have been there. So if I was picking between those 2, I'd probably go with Jaeger, but I also think that you could just go up to Benny N, to be honest, who's really likes Florida, putts better on Bermuda. He's got an underrated short game. There's no reason why you can't just play like a 6% owned Benny N over both those guys. That's probably what I would do this week if I was picking one. You could pick and choose. I think that Perez at his ownership personally is just, I would avoid, but I think that Benny N actually has some interest for me. I would almost prefer him over the low 8K guys.
My buddy Thomas asked me, who do I think the most underpriced golfer is in the field this week? Because he's partaking in things, trying to pay attention to rainmakers too. It was kind of a conversation that stemmed off of that. And my answer was Benny On. I think he's the most underpriced player in the entire field. Him or Victor Perez, because again, Victor Perez, we don't see him a lot in America, but I looked at both of them and I feel as though just for the quality of players that they are, Victor Perez winning in Saudi Arabia at the beginning of this year, been more of a stalwart on the Euro, on the DP World Tour, if you will. But Ben An feels very underpriced considering over his last 50 rounds, 7th in DK scoring. I think that alone, you look at his ability to just rack up some type of birdies on a golf course that probably isn't going to be converting him. His superpower is generally around the green game, very, very deft touch. If you get any kind of ball striking from him, he feels like a guy that could just show up, grind out a 6 under, and put himself in contention.
And you mentioned it, like he's strong birdie maker. I mean, he's a player who, he might go out and just make a couple bogeys, but he'll back it up with a couple birdies. So
yeah,
I'm not shocked to hear that stat on him from DK scoring wise. So yeah, I like him in this range. And I agree. Like Perez does feel underpriced as well. There's a reason why he's popular. You could look to them both, but there's a pretty big ownership gap there. So just keep that in mind as well.
Mid 7s. Actually, Bhatia, I'm biased. I play him a lot. Would have been really, really awesome for him to lock up his card so I could just ride the coattails. He could free himself up after the second in Puerto Rico, but Echeverria had to edge him out. Such is life. Joel Dahman, Netflix, what is it? Superstar Joel Dahman, we should say. Will Gordon, stud. Bo Hostler, I'm a sicko. EVR exists. Lots of mid 7Ks. Cootie. Do we have Cooties this week? We'll find out. Mid 7s. Lots of targets. Anybody who stands out to you here?
Yeah, no, I mean, you get pretty wild down here. I mean, Joel Damon is definitely projecting. I guess we could call it the Netflix bump because he really hasn't been playing well.
My wife would be ecstatic if I won a GPP with Joel Damon in my lineup. That's for sure.
So, I mean, he's like, I don't mind it. I mean, he's 7,500. You could get back on him. And there's question marks around pretty much all these guys. I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, I think Badia is kind of like the best play down here. I mean, he's played well. We're talking about upside with guys like Brandon Wu up there too. I mean, he kind of just feels like a cheaper version of that, where he's been consistent of late. He can do everything. Like he's got it around the green game. He can putt a little bit. I mean, distance wise, it's not going to be a problem for him. So I think Badia is fine. I think Will Gordon is also pretty interesting. It's cooled off a little bit, but the putter with Will Gordon can always get hot. He's very consistent off the tee, which is good. So I don't mind those two players. Is kind of who I'd be looking at there. Damon, like, I don't know. I mean, I just feel with how high he's projecting, I just don't really need to take a shot with the players clearly a little bit out of form. I do like this setup for him. I mean, again, like another player, very supreme ball striker when he's in form. Obviously played well at the US Open last year, but I just don't know if you need to take on, like the highest owned, maybe potentially the highest owned player in this range who's coming in with that little form. So I think for GPPs, Badia, Will Gordon are kind of the targets for me. And I won't bring up Ben Martin just because Raza would normally do that, but I'm not going to do it. There are options though. I mean, Martin has played well. Van Rooyen, whatever you want to call him. There's always upside with him. So this range gets highly volatile. Like I said, I think as soon as you hit past the 7,700 mark.
All right, let's get to the Eric Lindquist hot take of the entire week. Normally we'll throw the hot takes out there to finish it out though, but I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm a little flabbergasted that David Lingmerth is getting no attention this week. And I get it. The guy had no form at the beginning of the season, miscut Sony, miscut American Express, miscut Farmers. But the man has now converted a 10th at the Honda. Again, it's the Honda, weaker field. He just put up a 6th at the Players, gained a bunch of shots with the putter. Around the green game is never going to be a specialty, but these irons, man, I don't know. If he could be flat with the driver, this iron play that we're starting to see from him, he's got something figured out. He's low 7s with no ownership, and I'm a little bit floored by it because, again, I would currently have a lot. I have a ton of interest getting to him. I think the Swede is being underappreciated in this spot. It's been a long time since I considered David Lingmerth in my life whatsoever, and something that wasn't like, I don't know, the Barbasol. But I think David Lingmerth is definitely in play, and I don't think anybody is clicking on his name right now. Am I crazy right now that he's in my single entry lineup?
Not really, because like I said, when we get down here, I mean, there's one other player that I kind of feel similar to you about, like how you feel about Lingworth about, but Lingworth is definitely like the other name that pops up for me. I mean, this is a player who's won in a tough course before. He's certainly got himself in contention. Has he been the most consistent golfer? No, but that's kind of his bread and butter. When he was on the PGA Tour and kind of like, competing and holding his card, it was really good iron play. He could putt and he just hit fairways. And that's what he's doing right now. So no, I mean, you look at this range. I mean, we're going to trust Webb Simpson again. I'm not. Sam Ryder's cooled off. Ryan Gerard, I don't even know what to make there. My only other guy in this range, I shouldn't say my only other guy, but my other main target here is Trey Mullinax, who I just feel continually underrated as a player. I got him at 140-1 this week, and I just do not understand. It's like any other golfer like misses like one cut or has one bad round that they get drift a little bit, but like Mullinax's odds like double like every time he misses a cut, and his DFS salary kind of does the same thing. He gained 6 strokes ball striking at API. He was top 10 there. He's top 10 at Valspar before. He shot the 85 last week. I really don't care because it's TPC Sawgrass. Is it the most encouraging side? No, but this is also a player who missed 2 cuts and then won his first PGA Tour event in Kentucky last year. It's top 10. He's a very talented player. And I think that this is a good setup for him. So I think Mullinax and Lingworth are really stand out to me here. They've both shown form. They're both too cheap. No one's really talking about them much. And I just think you need to be looking. We're talking DFS. We're talking trying to go after big scores. We're not talking cut makers or Alex Smalley making a T30. Yeah. Mullinax and Lingworth can top 10 in this kind of event. So those are the 2 guys down here I especially like. And there's other players who probably can too, but those would be my 2 favorite for sure.
I'm so happy you're on the Lingworth train with me. I was just a little bit confused.
Do you want a sad Lingworth story from me?
I'm ready.
When he beat Justin Rose at Memorial, I think it was 2015. Him beating Rose cost me $13K. I finished 3rd in a GPP instead of 1st. So I should have beef with, if anyone has beef with David Lingworth, it's me. And he sunk like a 18-foot putt to get into the playoff too, or something stupid. Like, it was ridiculous. So yeah,
he owes you one.
He does.
So play him this week and win money, and that'll be great. I also like the Trey Mullinax call out. I have a couple of bomber lineups where it's him, Benny On, who also surprisingly way up there in terms of driving distance. I'm not going to the top tier with the Brandon Matthews, the Cameron Champs, that's for sure. But Wyndham Clark, I know he's going to be a popular build. I'm playing a lot of those bomber type lineups. Gary Woodland goes into that category as well, although I do expect Stinger Island to show up here for sure. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Trey Mullinax, I think this is a great shout out. Last guy I want to talk about in the lower 7s. Is Kevin Kistner just dead?
I mean, I'm not writing him off because every time I write off Kevin Kisner, he gets hot with his putter and he wins an event.
He'll win the match play next week or something. Is he in the match play next week?
Probably. I mean, he probably just has a permanent spot. I actually don't know. He may not be. When's the last time he won? Did he win last year? I can't even remember. He wins every year, feels like. But
let me take a look. I'll find out for you.
Anyways.
It's wild to see him in the same range as like Harry Hall, David Lipsky, Charlie Hoffman, the corpse of Charlie Hoffman. It's so insane. The last time he won was the Wyndham 2021, I believe is what I just found. So he's got to start playing some golf because, again, miscut Phoenix, miscut Genesis, miscut Arnold Palmer, made the weekend and shot 81 at the Players. Oopsie. That's a golf course he traditionally likes, but I don't know what to make of him. I just see him at 7K. Part of me wants to add him back into the pool, add him into the mix. There's nobody gaining any attention like at the flat 7K 7,100 range. You can kind of take best available. I think Mr. Seung-Hoon Kim, he's a stud. SH Kim, I don't mind him. They're 5.8% ownership. Lee Hodges 7,100. Martin Laird. But like, I tried to come up with a case for Kevin Kistner and I just can't do it.
It's pretty hard to think that if he's not going to do better than like 81 on Sunday at Sawgrass, like you said, a course that he's traditionally done well at, that he's going to come to Copperhead and suddenly like find something. I would worry that, maybe even if he makes the weekend, like he could just be such a disaster that it won't even help you. I would probably go take a shot with Lipsky, Lipsky was actually first round leader at this event last year. Pretty sure I'm remembering that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty solid long iron player. His around the green game's actually been pretty good this year. He's not been good his last few starts, but there's a lot of players in that realm as well. I just like Lipsky as a player too. He's pretty solid at everything. But yeah, you're right. Like best available here. I'm not even going to bring up Dylan Fratelli again because I've done that like 3 weeks in a row. So
Illinois' finest.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah, but I'm going to go with Lipsky. I would go with Lipsky in this range. I think again best available for sure to him. To me, that would kind of be him at this point.
Fighting Illini, my God, I don't know why I remember that. Dylan Fratelli, like you remember the guys that like you played college golf against, or like whomever, like South African came over, whatever. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. We do have one more range to go, and that is the sub 7K range. We're going to the 6K. It gets dark. It gets bleak down here, if you will. Going to be a difficult range to figure out. But first, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. We love talking golf. We love hanging out with you guys. We're going to build a lineup as we get out of here, as we get out the door, but we're going to round it out here with the 6K. And I'm just, it's rapid fire. It is truly best available, whoever you want. Is there somebody you have your eye on sub 7K?
So we kind of talked about him in the chat. Dylan Wu is probably going to be one of the more popular players down here. But again, it's a weaker field here. Like I actually don't mind eating a little bit of chalk. And again, players under 7K, guys, you have to understand, they rarely get over 10% owned. Rarely. So I think Dylan Wu is absolutely fine. Gaining strokes tee to green, good young player. I just feel most comfortable going to him at that 68 range. Have a little bit of interest in like a Chesson Hadley who can get really hot with the putter. He's played okay. I don't hate that move. I'm not going to do it with Luke Donald. I just don't think there's enough upside. He'll probably make the cut because he always does here. I'll still throw this out. Michael Kim is a really interesting dude.
You're speaking my language. Now you're getting warmer.
And if you're into Rainmakers or you're looking into Rainmakers, it's not a bad guy to maybe just pick up, because when we get to these weaker field events, like this is where he's going to make his bread and butter as well. So keep that in mind. But Kim is starting to do some things better. He's very talented. Obviously, he had that one win out of nowhere at the John Deere that 1 year. But this is another spot where like I wouldn't mind going to him. So I think Dylan Wu is best. But I think there's a few players down there that would still have me interested in throwing in Hadley, maybe Kazire, and then Michael Kim was the other guy in this high 6K range.
Yeah, the Palmetto, like the Barbasol alternate field. There's an event going on for that opposite the Open Championship. I think stuff like that is a really good investment to have some of these players down here where that somebody like a Michael Kim could be showing up at the top of there. We saw EVR won the 1 year out there in Tahoe. Once again, I just think we have opportunities to start investing in some of these guys in Rainmakers, to start thinking about that. And I'm right there with you with Michael Kim. I have some Zach Johnson interest, and this is probably the last guy that I'll throw out there. Ryder Cup captain. Maybe it's just me in the back of my head, but I feel like sometimes you get these old timers, these guys that maybe don't have it all the time, but they are grinding because he knows he's a Ryder Cup captain this year. He wants to be boots on the ground. He wants to be making cuts. I think it probably helps that, he's a little bit younger than maybe a Davis Love III, had a little bit more game that he had towards the tail end of his career when he was 49, 50, playing some of those before he was a Ryder Cup captain. But I think Zach Johnson has done just enough. You talk about a grinding profile, the ability to also go low. He's done it throughout his career, and he has some decent form coming in with the 12th at the Honda, 32nd at Waste Management, which is a strong field. I think adjusted, that would make him, 15th or a 10th when you think about the quality of that field compared to this. Arnold Palmer, made the weekend shot 78, didn't look as good because of it, but yay, I'm okay with that. Making cuts, somebody who can maybe get you into the mix if it really goes well and can gain in some different ways. We know the elite putter can show up from time to time. Why not Zach Johnson?
I gotta say, I don't hate it too much.
Especially I hate it a little bit. He's 1% owned for a reason.
It's still Zach Johnson, another player who has cost me money. But he again, like we're not talking about an event where you got to get to like 15 or 20 under par. I mean, like the leader could be at like 6 under par. Maybe like it could even be worse. Who knows? that's Zach Johnson's wheelhouse, man. Like he can absolutely just hang around. I'm not saying like, go and like throw some money on him to win. I'm just talking for DFS. He could grind you out a top 20 this week. It's certainly plausible. So yeah, I again, like, and I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Luke Donald there. I would prefer Zach Johnson over the two of them. It's a tough range. It's a tougher range, I think, in a lot of ways. A lot of weeks you might just say, yeah, take a shot with Hadley, take a shot with Michael Kim or Dylan Wu, but like it's not going to be that birdie fest where if you just catch a guy with a hot putter, that may not be enough. Like you may need someone who can grind it out and kind of do a little bit of everything. So Zach Johnson, I think, is in play. Agreed there. And some of this may just, maybe you want to stack your lineups with guys like that. You can Fitzpatrick and Zach Johnson together and just put all the, the grinders together. I don't know, but yeah, he's certainly worthy to at least think about for sure.
The cheapest player in your player pool is?
So you don't need to go down this far, but if you're going to
you don't, but I want to because
6,200. Hank
Labiota. Yeah.
Hank Labiota. Thank you. I just always pronounce his name incorrectly.
He doesn't deserve it.
Hammer and Hank, man. I mean, 21st at the Puerto Rico, was 15th at Pebble. Again, these are somewhat comparable in the fact that playing in windy events, harder to hit greens in a lot of those spots. We've seen Labiota, put it together at certain points in his career and have some decent runs. He's 6,200. Again, you don't need to go down here, but if I'm going down there, that's where I'm going.
There was that streak he had with the putter that just caused me great pain. Oh, it caused me great pain. I can't believe that actually happened. I just watched that lefty just make every fucking putt for a year. It was insane. But anyway, Austin Eckroat, if he were to win this golf tournament and I didn't roster some, I would never forgive myself as a person, nay, as a human being. So I would be dead inside. So Austin Eckroat, 6,300, a de facto Eric Lindquist All-Star. So have a little bit, but I'm not going down there to anything below it. I'll leave the Labiota up to you. Kyle Westmoreland, I thought about. I did not do it. Just cool name. Yeah. There you go. Austin Eckroat, last guy that is in my pool. But shall we build a single entry lineup, my friend?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. We head over because I'm stepping in on your show. I'm going to give you the opportunity to pick first and get us started.
All right. I'm going to go with my guy here. I'm going to go with Davis Riley. Okay. I just really I like the setup. I like the fact it's going to be tough conditions. I think he's an all-around player. Like the price, the ownership projections, everything. I'm going to go with Davis Riley.
All right. I think it's a guy that we're both on board with. So we're going to do one of these low 9K builds, start putting some of these pieces together. He's more popular, but I'm just fine with Justin Suh. I think he is the class of the 8K range. That's why he's 8,900 probably. That makes sense. But I think he really, really profiles well for this golf course. He has great form coming in, which matters to me more than course history. So there you go. Justin Suh, number 2 in.
Okay. So I'm going to leave. Okay. I'm going to go to another guy we both agree with, and let's go with Ben Yan, at 7,900. And then I'll let you take it, and you can go up or down from there. That's a nice kind of mid-range value. Again, a really solid player in Florida. Irons have been there. He's looked good in spots. Like this could be this could be it. Who knows? I mean, I've been betting Benny Yan since I was born, essentially at this point. So, always on him.
Love it. I talked about David Lingmerth. I'm not going to click on him for this specific situation. I think Bhatia as well, 7,500. But there's one other player that I purposely didn't bring up because I wanted to bring him up when we're building it out because he's also in my single entry lineup. What do you think about Garrick Higo? Because he's had a couple of just wavering Sundays that have not panned out very well for him. He hit it in the water at the Honda on 17, made a complete mess of that situation. It was either 15 or 17. It was during the bear trap over there at the Honda. Didn't look so good. Hit it in the water on 17 with that absolute nuke that he hit over the green there as well. But I love when Sunday jitters come out and affect a golfer because I don't think it completely represents how they're playing. And we saw him miss the cut at the Arnold Palmer with just a cold putter, cold irons. But those irons, he's gained in 3 of 4 before that. The driver, he's been positive in all tournaments the entire season outside of the Honda. We're talking about a long stretch of golf where he has been good with the driver. And if he spikes with the putter, there's win equity. Yeah, you heard me. Win equity with young Garrick Higo. We don't know how good he could be. He's played, well in very weak fields over in Europe, came over, won right off the bat to establish himself and get his card, but hasn't played very good golf for over a year now. I think he's starting to get comfortable, and I think he's a buy on the marketplace.
The last time you and I both brought up Garrick Higo was at the Honda, and he opened like 5 over after 5 holes. But I'm with you, sir. Our lineup now has Garrick
66,
Higo,
I believe, on Friday.
Yeah, but no, he bounced back. It was
it was nuts. He shot
really
29 or 30 or something going out. It was beautiful.
It's impressive, and I like golfers who do that for us, and you should too for DFS. Mm-hmm. Everyone should.
The anti-Brooks Koepka, if you will.
That's right. No, look, our lineup has Benny N and Garrick Higo. We're playing for first here, obviously. So we're either going to be first or last. I love it. How much salary we got left?
We have 8,300. So we got 2 spots, 8,300. Okay. Finish it out. Don't say nuke, Eric. I will say nuke whenever I want. Twitter.com. Elon can't stop me.
So if I go to Fitzpatrick, that's going to leave us in a pretty dead spot.
I'm okay with it. We'll see. Hang on. The 66 pickup sticks. Yeah, it's a problem. It's probably a problem.
Fleetwood would give us 68 though, wouldn't it?
I'm okay with 68.
Yeah.
I'm okay with you're putting me in a range where I can then click on Zach Johnson to round it all together and just hope that he grinds it out for 4 days for us.
Our other option then is to dip back into that kind of popular 8K range, which
no, never mind. Our dude Dylan Wu is there at 6,800. So there you go. Fleetwood Wu.
I mean, the 2 versus 2 spots we always like to talk about a little bit. You could go Woodland here and then go another balanced player, or that's what I would do, or I would go up to Fleetwood. And if you want to get a little more variance, I actually think this is an okay week to go with Fleetwood. And then, but you know what? I'm going to go Gary Woodland. We both like him as well.
Yep.
Let's go Woodland.
All right. Woodland. You could go Perez then right after that. If you want to be eating a little bit more of the chalk, he's very, very good. KH Lee is there. Jaeger. There's so many different options. We could leave a bunch of salary on the table and go to Akshay. Just talent alone. Will Gordon been playing decent enough. Lots of different options there in the upper 7s to round out that lineup. But that does it for single entry, covering everything for the Valspar. Going to be a fun week of golf. Don't forget to check out Rainmakers in the video description box below. Get that free pack, just like Jordan Klein opened live on stream today. Pretty darn fun stuff. Thank you to him for producing. But my friend, Chef Ulrich, go follow him. Do all the crazy things. The Fantasy Grind, correct?
Yep, at the Fantasy Grind on Twitter. Give me a follow. Absolutely. Always tweet. I'll tweet out all the stuff that I do, that I bet and stuff, and always appreciate it.
Appreciate it, my guy. So much fun. Take care. New comic books, too.
Oh, yeah. A couple.
Some beauties over there. Those are graded. Those are nice. Those are beautiful. All right, we're going to get out of here. Best of luck, everybody. Thank you to Jordan. Thank you to Jeff. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the PGA streets this weekend.